All right, welcome back, everybody, to BSL. We're here in Group E, and we've already finished our first game where we had Casper going for some very aggressive Terran play. Maybe not Artosis aggressive, but it's there. And some very good defenses there from Kenzie, who I felt like kind of had everything that he needed, just barely in time to defend. So maybe there's an alternate universe where all that aggression paid off, but not this one.
Yeah, not working out for Casper. But speaking of aggression, we got a Zerg versus Zerg, and this is definitely the most aggressive matchup in StarCraft Remastered.
Oh, for sure. I feel like a light breeze blows through and like half your Zerglings die. It's like, wow, this is just very volatile. So it is going to be, I think, for me, a little bit more of a mystery. I never know what to expect from Babo, who is a Chilean Zerg player. He'll be playing up against KAme Zerg, who is all the way across the pond in Sweden. But I have seen KAme Zerg play quite a bit, and so I at least might favor him a little bit, but I don't know what to expect. It is a ZVZ, so I have to say I'm required by law to say that anything can happen in a ZVZ. So, I guess let's see. I don't know exactly which maps they're going to be playing, so if Zero can throw those up on screen, we'll find out and see what is in store for us. I felt like last series we had just lots of aggressive maps, so I really want to see. Actually, I guess Blue Storm isn't in the map pool, but we do have Benzene, which is kind of the closest we get to a tiny map, even though it's not actually that tiny.
Yeah, Benzene, a 2-player map, but surprisingly, because of how the map is laid out, the rush distances are pretty short, but not going to matter when you got mutas flying. They can just avoid all those terrain issues. Now we have Circuit Breaker, second map, Sylphid for the third map. This is pretty standard. I think so far, almost every series we've seen maps like this for round of 24, like Benzene, Circuit Breaker, Sylphid, Eddy. Those 4 maps essentially just rotating through. As far as the players go, in my experience versus Babo on the ladder, his Mutamicro is phenomenal. Just perfection. And I remember last season in BSL, he even took out True Touch, I think, in round of 16. He did really good. So he's got really, I'm sure his Zerg versus Zerg is going to be really good. And KAme Zerg, again, this is Zerg versus Terran I'm talking about. He reminds me of Nagram, kind of like Nagram Jr. He's pretty good in the early game, but his macro in the late game, really fantastic. I've never seen a Zerg versus Zerg, so I'm not sure what to expect. But yeah, Babo, his Mutamicros is just incredible, so I'm going to have to favor him just a little bit here.
Okay. Well, your Mutamicro only helps if you get to mutas, and a lot of species end before that. Yes. So I guess we'll see. Let's go ahead and get into our first game. It is going to be on Benzene, or ZVZ, to start things off between KAme Zerg and Babo. All right, here we are for game number 1. This is our second set of the first round of BSL Season 6 for Group E. In the upper right-hand corner in the red, our Zerg player, Babo.
And in the bottom left, we've got the Swedish Zerg. It is KAme. So last week, even though I was playing, I did check the VODs, and Zero pulling out some pretty cool play with that Sunken Rush versus Julia. We may see something like that versus in this matchup.
Zero is just I've never seen any of that before. Possibly because it just doesn't work, but it was so close to working quite a few times. I'm just like, I don't know. Also, I can never really trust the results of that because I feel like Julia was playing an even more interesting style. So it was yeah, I don't know. That's where I have to throw the textbook out the window. It's like I'm learning French and I go in to take the test, but the test is all in German. I don't know. It was the weirdest week or day of games I've cast in just a million years. So it's exciting and kind of refreshing to see some new styles, but I'm glad to get back to something that looks a little bit more normal.
Yeah, so we see from KAme, we have gas faster than Babo, but there's no spawning pool. Meanwhile, Babo behind this is going for a 9 pool speed. So he's going to have more gas than Babo, but I'm confused. Where's the spawning pool?
Yeah, is this a Faust build? Like, did he just build the thing that doesn't build Zerglings first? That's really surprising. I've never seen that. In ZVZ, builds are so volatile that anytime you have to ask the question, do you die to 9 pool speed? Like so many builds just you can't do because you die to the most common like ZVZ build order. That's exactly what Babo is doing. He is just playing by the textbook ZVZ. You go 9 pool speed, layer off 1 base, mutas. Like there's just no exceptions. And this is 8 lings with speed headed across the.
Yeah, so Kame's gonna have to get his lings out pretty fast, and because of well, this is reminding me of effort versus flash. Of course, this is on 1 base, not 2 base, but he's probably
Yeah.
gonna get speed and lair at the same time. Um, I don't know. I'm looking at the gas count. He's gonna have 100 more gas than Babo the entire time. So if it gets to that muta play, he will have 1 more muta. I'm looking at Babo. He even pulled off 1 drone on the gas. Meanwhile, Kame's still 3 on gas. So he will have the gas lead, but Babo's looking to put on some pressure.
This is actually fantastic. I'm glad to see a tiny variation. So it was a 12. It wound up being a 12 gas and pool. He has a few lings out, but no. Oh wow, that's actually really risky. He has defender's advantage, but there's so many lings flooding across the map. The overlords can see it, so he knows he needs to form this arc at the top of the ramp. A couple of those zerglings are very, very wounded, but there are replacement zerglings that are going to fill those kind of gaps and maintain that wall at the top of the ramp.
Yeah, so he's got this concave up. It's gonna be. Oh, is Babo gonna get? Oh no! No, he let him in.
That's gonna be really rough. He's got a few more Zerglings popping out. He's got a Sunken on the way. It's almost about to finish, so he will kind of stabilize here as long as he can save these gas drones. He's doing a good job glitching out the lings, but he did lose a drone there.
So smartly, he had that Sunken going before it even happened, but it did force a full drone pull. This is going to be very crippling for him. At least he does have a second hatch. Look at Babo, no second hatch. If Kame puts down the Spire right now, which he basically can, the Spire timing will be identical, essentially, and he's just going to flat out have more gas than Babo. So I think as long as Kame doesn't take any sort of crippling damage to... it feels like he's going to be in a pretty good spot, and I don't think he is because the ling count is at 11, but there's a Sunken with good SimCity, and we've got 4 lings here. So Kame, this looks pretty good.
I think the SimCity is honestly going to be the biggest part of this. Now, it might work against him. It's going to focus it down. He didn't have the lings in position to save the Spire. It was functioning as SimCity, but it actually, you know, that's when the disaster strikes, right? That's when your SimCity catches on fire. You can't save it in time. Wow, I didn't expect that SimCity to work against Kame.
Yeah, so now, well, it's almost over now. The Spire just starting for Kame. The Spire's almost done for Babo. Also, it wasn't even a cancel on the Spire, so it was a full loss for him. So that gas lead that he had, look at the gas now. It's essentially even, identical even.
Wow, it's really rare that you see things be so close, but Babo actually has massive amounts of minerals more, and so he will actually be able to build the mutas. Nobody talks about mutas costing minerals, but yeah, they do. So you do need both resources to try to do that, and Kame just has no minerals.
Yeah, and Babo has map control at this point. He sees exactly what's going on. He knows that Kame's just playing defensive, even seeing an evolution chamber, and he's doing exactly what you should do when a player's playing defensive. Take a base, and that's what he's doing. He's going to get farther ahead, and there's just nothing Kame can do about it.
Yeah, I never see players... Oh, he's picking off drones at the same time in the face of a Sunken. What a badass. I never see players go for Spire and Evo Chamber because it takes so much effort to try to get up Evo, Spores, hang on. But he's trying to do it because you can just expand behind this, and there's no way that the Spore player will...
Look at this Spire. They're just good. I thought these mutas can just sit on the Spire and kill it.
Wait, they actually can, right?
Yeah, they can, but at least Scourge are gonna pop out before then. But he's getting more drones. Like,
oh my gosh!
Spore colonies are not StarCraft 2 spore colonies. Like those things are nuts. They start like 2-shotting units. Like the mutas, even with a count of 3, can sit over top of a spore for quite a while. Kame's building a ton of Scourges. He has to land these because if he doesn't, there's essentially no comeback potential for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna lose, what is it, 2 Overlords? Well, only 1 No, he is going to lose 2 Overlords. He actually scourged one of the Overlords. He needs to connect these with the Mutas. Oh, this is going to be so painful. Actually, wow, he's landing quite a few of them. But now I think the Micro is going to come through and take the rest of them out. Wow.
Yeah, he did get a Scourge hit in the main of Babo, but the problem is we have 1 Muta versus 5. And Babo's got his natural. Now his drone saturation is very low. He won't be able to take a gas at this point. But still, it's just so hard to come back from this. Look at the Muta control. To do that kind of control, even versus 2 Scourge, is not easy.
It really isn't. I'm glad you point that out, because I feel like the effort it takes to watch Brood War is maybe higher than it takes to watch other esports, but still, when you watch somebody micro against Scourge, it really doesn't do it justice to how hard it is to actually do. And that's all. Most of the fun that I have watching Brood War is just knowing how insanely difficult it is for these players to just make the units do anything, and seeing them do that, I don't know, that's super skillful to me. And so now we're watching the death of KAme. He's gonna come out with quite a few mutants, and Zerg's kind of Scourge kind of surprisingly. So this is maybe delaying his execution a little bit, but he still has just less overall.
Yeah, the supply 32 to 23, and Zerg. Oh my gosh, he got 2 mutants with both those Scourge.
Wow. Okay, I feel like, yeah, that's not supposed to happen, but that's gonna do it. GG. KAme taps out. Babo, you're right. The superior muta control takes game number 1.
Yeah, that's just always been my experience versus Babo on the ladder. It's like, oh, I'm playing Babo, I'm getting 2 hatched. Like it's just almost a given, and the muta control is just absurd. So, it was nicely done from Babo. I feel bad for KAme because the initial build, I'm like, what the hell? But as it was playing out, he was gonna have the gas lead, and if you can get a gas lead in Zerg versus Zerg, especially 100 or 150, that's 1-2 mutas. That could turn the tides in your favor. Like everything was going right for him until that Spire got picked off.
You were talking about how the good Sim City was gonna help against the Lings, and Babo just looks at that and he's like, wait a second, I can just kill the Spire right here, and he had enough Lings to make it happen. Man, I think one of the hardest things to understand in StarCraft is exactly how many Lings versus Muta that you need to be able to accomplish what you're going for in ZVZ. It's so volatile. I don't think I'll ever get that.
Yeah, like there were so many Scourge from KAme. Imagine if, I know this is hard to imagine, but imagine if the Scourge hit those mutas, right? Like 12 Scourge will beat 6 mutas if they land, but Babo's got the control to stop them. But if they do land, all of a sudden Babo's in a terrible position. So ZVZ is just so volatile. That's why I love to watch top tier players play it, because it's just so nuts.
Yeah, I mean, it is truly our blessing. Truly, we are the privileged ones to be able to watch great games. And even though this is, an early round of BSL, it's not, like the round of 4 or anything crazy. These players are actually still fantastic. And you have to think about players who are here in, Pro League. There's also, Gosu and Chobo League. There's other leagues you can watch if you want to see up and coming players. But these players have up and came into the big leagues, so they're already here. And def somebody or players that you can learn a lot from. So, I want to learn a lot from game number 2, Nyoken. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. Circuit Breakers is our second map. So let's get into game number 2.
Oh, he did it.
I did it. I lived up to my name at least once. In the bottom right-hand corner, in the yellow, is our Chilean Zerg player, Babo.
And in the top right, we've got IRK's KAme. I'm curious what KAme will do. I feel like that was just his own mistake, and every time I see somebody just lose because of their own mistake, I feel like they should just play the same build. It looked great.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can say, well, maybe it's map dependent, right? This is a 4-player map instead of a 2-player map, so you don't guaranteed know where your opponent spawns. Sometimes with Overlord scouting, that can actually give you a big advantage in ZVZ if you're able to see your opponent's build, but they don't know yours, and you have the additional flexibility of kind of trying to counter it. But that was actually a really weird build to see KAme go for. Gas first in a ZVZ? That's a little scary.
Yeah, and one thing that even though Babo won the game, he doesn't know exactly what KAme did, right?
Oh,
We
yeah,
saw
that's
what
right.
happened. He doesn't know that it was a fast gas. It looked like just a normal 12 pool, but
Mhm.
we know that there was an excess gas. So I'm not surprised that Babo's going for the same build. Why go for any other build? It just worked,
Yeah.
so we should go for it again. And I am a little bit surprised that KAme's not going for that this time, because there's the 12 pool, but it's not that excess gas that we just saw.
That was really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Because then you get one more muta out, and you're supposed to, and then that's all you need. You hit with one more muta than your opponent has, and you're just gonna win the game. And he's scratching your head. It's like, did this guy like make a hacked map or something? Like, how does he have this extra gas than I do? But no. He's actually just playing a more interesting style. So yeah, we're gonna see 9 pool speed. Or at least I guess we're gonna see speed here.
Yeah, it's most
Maybe
likely
not.
going to be speed. I think he's waiting to get that 100 gas. So there's the 100 gas.
There it is.
And
Yeah.
KAme's gas just finished, so Babo's going to have the speed advantage. The gas overall is going to be even, but one thing that KAme does have over Babo is he's got his natural already going. So as long as he can keep this, he's going to be in a better economic situation than Babo.
Just make sure.
So we have the Lings coming across for Babo right now. He still does not have any vision of what KAme's doing. He's getting lucky to just send these Lings directly to KAme's base. I don't think he knows that KAme's here, but he is going to find him. KAme pulling off drones, and he's going to be able to defend this, I think, but he's going to have to keep these drones down here for quite a while because, again, he does not have speed just yet.
Yeah, no, this is a super scary moment. That was definitely a guess from Babo at the spawn location. He could absolutely be cross spawns right now, but he did guess correctly, and he's putting on the appropriate amount of pressure. But I think one of the biggest things that watching like Jadong and Sulky will tell you is that this, like, if you have good enough control, you can save this hatchery with good, drone and link control. So you let him hit it for a little bit, but I think it's time to go. You got to start saving this. It's below half health.
Yeah, here comes KAme. He's got... Oh, was that a good drone drill? It doesn't look like it. There's an overwhelming amount of Lings for Babo. This hatch is dead. And if we look back at his base, his lair is almost done, and KAme's lair hasn't even started.
This is
more
a total
drone pulls?
tragedy. He's gonna have to try. Losing the hatchery at this point would be a total tragedy. It looks like pulling the drones is gonna barely save this. Yeah, he's gonna kill every single Ling with drones almost, and there are reinforcing Lings coming through. I don't know if this is good enough to hold on, but I think he is just barely gonna stabilize.
I mean, he may hold for now, but we had a almost complete drone pull for so long. Like, the econ is just trashed for KAme, and there's no lair, so really, he's just got a Ling all in at this point. But Babo knows that. Well, I assume he knows that, but I don't see any Sunkens going up.
Yeah, wait, what? Where are the Sunkens? Maybe he assumes blocking the high ground on the ramp is good enough, but I don't know, man. I just, like, you just throw down 2 Sunkens, man. 1 muta is gonna win this game for you. I mean, maybe KAme will try to play that Spore style after this, but I think he's just gonna Ling all in, right? Yeah. Okay, there is finally a Sunken coming down.
Look at Babo with this sneaky 2 Lings getting into the main. Or maybe
Wow.
you can just go to the natural. This is did you see that drone reaction? That was instant. I don't know how he reacted that fast. But meanwhile, there is a big attack at the ramp of Babo, but KAme just doesn't have enough.
Yeah, forcing any Lings to stay back here is just absolute brilliance. He's gonna be forced to keep more and more as these pesky little Lings keep running by, and yeah, nothing's gonna penetrate the main at this rate.
Yeah, Spire's almost done. We've got Sunken done. It's not like KAme has an overwhelming amount of Lings at this point, so I feel like Babo is just going to morph these 3 mutas, move across the map, and there's going to be no counter. We have an evolution chamber going up for KAme, but because of this natural that he's taken, he's going to have to put up a Spore at the nat, a Spore at the main, and even if the Spore covers the mineral line, Look how low the hatch is.
Yeah, he actually has to cover the hatch with spores, so it's gonna take probably 2 spores at the natural, and then as the muta count grows, maybe 3 if he can't stabilize in time. Here we go. We're gonna see him run in here, try to snipe this sunken, but it's right as mutas pop out. So basically, the worst timing. He's gonna get 1, maybe 2 drones. I think that was only 1 drone, if I'm not mistaken, but there's still only 3 drones mining at this point. Wait, what?
I mean, that's a lot of drone kills that KAme got. We've got 4 drones, and also it's going to force Babo to keep these mutas back. Another drone going down, so Babo's down to 4, still 4 drones, he just made one. But the issue for KAme is he also has only 6 drones. If he had like 9 or 10, I definitely think he could stall this game out, but because his econ is also trashed, I'm not sure that he'll be able to recover that quickly and tech into lair and get back into it.
Yeah, I mean, everything is infinitely expensive at this point because you just have 0 economy on both sides. So things like picking up overlords, absolutely gigantic. So he actually hides one of them. But you can actually just sack mutas to kill drones at this point. I mean, it's totally viable because your opponent just has so few.
Yeah, and this spore in the main, it covers the top, but doesn't cover the bottom. So that's going to be a drone going down. And
yeah,
that's going to limit all the patches he can really mine. Remember, we talked about the spores last game. They can just suicide on top of these drones if they want.
It's not looking good for our hero KAme. I think Babo might just 2-0 this.
Yeah, we've got another spore coming down, but look at the natural. We've got lings coming out from Babo. He knows that there's just spores there, and it's most likely KAme is just droning behind it. Well, guess what? Spores don't hit ground. So we've got lings coming in. That's going to be a drone pull. And not only are those drones not going to get to the natural, he's also going to lose this hatchery at the nat also, I think.
Oh, one of KAme's Zerglings glitched out and spawned on top of the hatchery, so it wasn't able to attack there. So he's doing the best to fight with drones, but he can't do it. GG, KAme taps out, and Babo takes a 2-0 over KAme's Zerg.
Yeah, so that was really nicely played from Babo. Again, what went wrong for KAme? Oh, it was the lings. That drone drill really ruined him. I thought he had enough lings in the drones, but the drones just got into a weird position where Babo had the concave advantage. And in ling versus ling, it is almost mandatory that you have the concave advantage because it just snowballs so hard.
Yeah, I need Tasteless out here to tell us that concave beats convex, just so that we're really sure about what kind of gave him the game. That drone drill also is Brood War Micro, giveth it, taketh away. Sometimes your drones drill, the Zerglings glitch out, and you just totally crush them. The other times, well, that happens. So, I mean, you can't take too much away from Babo. He just played straight up ZVZ the way it's supposed to be done. 9 pool speed into 1 hatch muta. He went for it, and it did very, very well. So congratulations to Babo for advancing on to our winner match. He is going to go up against Kenzie, who I think race picks Protoss versus Zerg. So we might see him get a chance to race swap and see how he does on that side of the coin coming up next. So I don't know what to expect, but yeah, I think we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back with our winners match to find out who will be the first player to advance out of Group E BSL Season 6. So don't go anywhere.